Right, we're gonna do this one more time. Okay. Um, we are back. We are back. Hello, that's another angel who just joined the chat. Good morning, peace and salute. I gotta say thank you for everything as well. That is amazing that God would have you show up this bright and early and spot on. Um, so good morning. Um, I went live earlier and was missing a phone, and I wanted I reached to look for that phone because I was trying to look up a definition. The definition that I wanted to look up was neurodivergent. I wanted to read it. And I wanted to read it because I had just stated, you know, the cliche, the research, excuse me, is early. Um, Neurodivergent. Leon Eisenberg is what I was talking about. Neurodivergent is a non medical term describing people whose brains process, learn, and experience the world differently than what society considers typical. Neurotypical. It is an umbrella term rather than a diagnosis, highlighting the neurological differences are natural human variations, not deficits. Common types of neurodivergence. While neuro, no, excuse me. While neurodivergence includes anyone with a non-standard brain, whatever a non-standard brain is supposed to be, it is commonly associated with these conditions. Autism spectrum disorder, ASD, affects how individuals communicate, interact, and perceive sensory information. There's ADHD, which impacts executive functions, leading to variations in attention, regulation, focus, and impulse control. Learning disabilities such as dyslexia, reading, dyscalculia, math, and dysgraphia, writing. Other conditions include Tourette syndrome, sensory processing disorder, and sometimes mental health conditions like OCD or bipolar disorder. Strengths and challenges. Neurodivergent individuals often have specialized skills alongside everyday challenges. Strengths: heightened sensory perception, intense focus on specific interests, deep empathy, and highly creative problem solving. Challenges: navigating social communication norms, emotional regulation, and functioning in spaces designed solely for neurotypical people. Diagnosis and support. Neurodivergence is assessed by healthcare professionals using behavioral observations, developmental histories and symptoms, checklists. Support is tailored to the individual's needs and may include occupational therapy, specialized educational strategies, or counseling. To Seattle, this is a full flight, so there's a good chance we're going to run out of overhead bin storage before everyone boards. We are asking for 20 volunteers to check their roller bag. Bags will be checked for free to baggage claim at your final destination with our 20-minute arrival guarantee. One moment, please, and wait till she finishes her announcement. How are y'all? Good morning. Thanks. And hello to those who just joined the chat. If you were watching yesterday's lives, then you know, that today is building up off of that. Um, We're going to scroll. They said autism, ADHD. We're going to stop right there. Specific to ADHD, I mentioned Leon Eisenberg earlier. You can look it up for yourself. But he is the creator of ADHD, coined it, and admitted on his deathbed from him that it is a fictitious disorder or disease that he created for pharmaceutical gain and profit intentionally. He was a part of the process, did it, and he admitted that on his deathbed before he died. So I asked the question, is it not placebo? What is, you know, exactly ADHD? And it says impacts executive functions, leading to variations in attention regulation, focus, and impulse control. You know how many people take medicine for this? And at the beginning of this thing, they said that it was non medical. Neurodivergent is non medical. Common types of neurodivergence, the list, and ADHD is on that. So, how is it non medical, yet it requires so much medication? Then, my next question is within this umbrella or understanding of either neurodivergence or ADHD, what are the accommodations, limitations of the individuals? What are the excuses? What is truly a disorder? What is defiance within all of it? What is something that is really within self control? What is beyond control? For the things that are beyond control and wreak havoc on society, families, environments, what is excusable? What needs to be addressed? What doesn't need to be addressed? What triggers what? And at what point does what belong? I said that, my brain just said that, probably too cutthroat for the internet. But can we get straight to it? So, like, we also live in an era, though, where just being curt and straight and direct is, it's just a challenge. It comes with such a price in social media in the world today. You have to take your time. So I like to practice self-control as much as possible. As much as possible. But at least, even if I say it wrong, I took the moment to acknowledge the attempt, at least, to try to, try to just take my time, set the intention, let you know where my heart is. Okay. There's crazy, there's dismissive. What is crazy? What is dismissive? What is what belongs in a straitjacket? What is an endangerment to society? And then what is just like look overable, if that's a word? Um, because to have empathy or sympathy for the condition would require some understanding.
Good morning.
So for this moment, I'm just trying to understand. Ooh, baby.
This is flight one going to Seattle. Just a few reminders before boarding. You are prohibited from smoking, vaping, using chewing tobacco, and consuming your own alcohol at any time. Each guest
Nobody
can
but
put one small
God.
personal item and one carry-on that fits easily in the baggage
What I
size.
can say
We can
is,
help you to check any extra items.
I don't want to
Please note that
dismiss
guests may carry a
anyone's
maximum of two
real life
portable
experience
power
and saying
banks
that
at 100 watt
anyone
hours
who does
or
have
less.
it,
Power banks,
I don't want
e-cigarettes,
to
and
like,
smart bag batteries are not permitted
yeah,
in the
diminish,
overhead bins, and they must
insult
always remain within arm's reach. We'll board by
your
rules. Please
experience.
take note of your boarding group, which is printed on your boarding pass. If you need assistance with boarding or you don't see a group on your boarding pass, please come and see us.
But
Or
the
you will begin
Matrix,
shortly. Thank you for flying with us today.
the Matrix.
And we are operating a full flight this morning going to Seattle, and we're still looking for at least 20 volunteers to check the roll bags.
Give her a
Volunteer
moment.
bags will be tackle free to baggage claim
Y'all
at
see
your
them
final
at the airport,
destination
right?
with a 20-minute arrival guarantee. And you may board with Group C.
You didn't
Please see
ask for
us
my
here at the
personal
podium if you'd like
information,
to
but I
do
came
that.
home
Thank you so much.
for a medical emergency. Home as in hometown. To rest and recover. And see my mom.
Attention members of the military. The USO Lounge is open from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday and 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. on Saturday and Sunday.
Hello
The
there,
USO
Moon
Lounge is
Cricket.
located in Terminal 1.
Good morning,
Across from the
rise and
airport's
shine.
Boston-bound offices and can be
I see
accessed
your
by taking the
comment.
airport shuttle. Good morning to everyone traveling today on
Where
Delta
are you
Flight
tuning in from?
5772 service to Europe LaGuardia here at Gate B18. My name is Joanne. It is my pleasure to welcome you on this flight today. I'm happy to
Where are you tuning in from?
share that we are expecting an on-time
We're on
departure
YouTube and Instagram right now.
with
So
a bridge
IG
time
says
of
URLive Radio.
7:50
You're tuning in from
a.m.
California. What part of
If
California?
you're traveling today with an infant and you do not have a separate boarding pass, please come see me so I can assist adding them to your reservation. On behalf
Yo,
of Delta, thank you for letting
when I
us be
left,
part of your
gas
travel
was
journey.
over
And please come see
$6
me here podium
in Cali.
B18 if you're willing to
It's
voluntarily
been a
check
couple of
your
weeks. Did
carry
it go
bag
back
to your
down?
final destination
The
or leave
Riverside.
in-house.
All right.
Federal
You
regulation
out
allow
there.
each customer one carry
What's
bag
gas
on
like
a
out
personal
there?
item.
Gas
Don't
in
be
DC
under the
was
seat in front of you. If you
like
have more than two
$3.98,
items,
which is
please
still
pass our
high,
way.
but
Please remove any
over
leaky
6
battery,
is
power devices,
ridiculous.
which includes spare lithium batteries,
I really
power banks,
entertained
batteries from smart bags and e-cigarettes.
relocating back home to DC. I really entertained it, and
Identification or valuables. We do appreciate your cooperation. And if you're waiting for a seat assignment, your seat have been assigned. Please check
what I
your
can say
overhead
is there
monitor
are
gate B18 or
amazing
also your Delta app. Thank you.
attributes and qualities to my hometown, DC and Maryland, but it is hometown for me. Hometown blues. Hometown blues. We gotta make that a song. Down home blues. Hometown blues. Hometown blues. Hometown blues. Oh, I pray for anyone who has a family member that you have to share space with that is on some other shit. I pray for anyone who is trapped in their own home, in their own daily routine, in a toxic work environment, maybe. I pray for all the caretakers in the world who commit their lives to support and those in need, special needs. Um, I, as an art and music teacher, work with all
Good morning,
students,
passengers.
general population, special needs,
This time we'll begin pre-boarding with guests with disabilities who need extra time.
and a lot of times, as the art and music teacher, specialist teacher, like I said, you get all general and mixed populations. You don't always get the scoop or the heads up. And what I like about that, I can find pros and cons too.
Remember, one back up, one back down gets all bags in the cabin.
What I do like about it is you don't have an opportunity to discriminate, judge, or pre-categorize any child. You see them 100% for who they present as in that moment. And what would always get me would be I could have phenomenal work from a student and then later find out about an IEP and hear all of this stuff from other teachers. And I'm like, that's not my experience, which is why I question their limitations, because I'm like, is this really a limitation? Or is this something else? Is this something that needs medicine, or is art and music itself the medicine? And that's the part I love, and that's the ministry in it. That's the part that makes me feel like I'm fulfilling my purpose, because what you're telling me is I'm doing something right and in alignment and purposeful by channeling their inner creativity and giving them the opportunity to be and to not be a limitation or to be limited or poisoned with this medicine that they're given for pharmaceutical profit and gain, having nothing to do with their health. But specifically, something I have seen and want to send a prayer and support to are the parents of these children who are mass being diagnosed as these titles.
We'll take a brief service pause for our guests in first class.
Because they are caretakers for life.
So there's a good chance we're going to run out of overhead bin storage before
and that is a full-time job.
A few more volunteers to check the roller bags. Volunteer bags will be tagged for free to package clean at your
and they love their children.
And you will be able to
but I don't think
please see us here at the podium if you like us to do heavy lifting. And a reminder, it is an FAA regulation. You're only allowed to have one small personal item and one carry-on that fits easily in the baggage size. Or if you have more than those two items, we ask that you please consolidate before coming to the boarding door.
Waiting for her to finish. I don't think anyone realizes what a parent caretaker for, let's just say, a child that's on the extreme end of the spectrum goes through. And you can see it in their eyes. They love their children. But you can also see that they are exhausted.
And if there are any active duty military members, as a thank you for your service, you're welcome to board.
They are exhausted. So, that is where the prayer comes in, and that's where the God gift comes in. So I pray for their strength and energy, and I also pray for healing and resolution. And this is for those who actually have something that is like debilitating, limiting. And then, of course, there's a whole other side of it. Who's playing the game? Playing it to their advantage? and just playing? Where's is there space for deception, denial? Where is there space for defiance? Where no, that ain't no disorder. That is defiance, reprehensible, punishable, correctable. That is environment, nurtures versus nature. That is some bullshit. Because you can see certain children, you can see certain spirits, and good morning, folks. If you have any baby items that need special tagging, please come see us right now, as we're currently active in the fleet process. For those of you who have recently joined us here at the gate, this is a full flight to Seattle today. So we're looking to check about 15 carry-on bags, whether those are duffel bags or roller bags, as we do anticipate running out of overhead bin space. For those of you who find yourselves in the last two groups of the board, which is groups E for excellence and F for fantastic, those are the last two groups for with Alaska Airlines, and usually the groups that we have to check bags should we run out of overhead bin space. So if you find yourself in those last two groups, please do bring up any items that you may need on board in case we run out of overhead bin space. And with that said, we'll continue the boarding process to welcome our guest seated Group A. That's A for attentive, angelic, ambitious, and amorous. Group A, please welcome. Thank you for tuning in, Moon Cricket. Moon Cricket, would you like to join the live? I learned that you can do that on YouTube now. Briefcases, coats, hats in the seats in front of you. One bag up and one bag down ensures as many bags as possible are being able to be accommodated. I just tried the green screen thing on YouTube, and that is cool. I mean, I've seen it before on other people's. I don't particularly like this because I don't think it looks tacky to me. It's not consistent. It's not like a real consistent green screen. But I guess I could see. Oh, you could change backgrounds. Look, technology. I'm moving. Feel free to board at this time with your tagged items. We adjust after you leave your tagged bag at the end of the jetway. We have a young lady. So you can change. Okay. This is good. Did y'all watch the verses last night? It was B2K versus Pretty Ricky. Now, I already started saying that I was already in real time a Pretty Ricky fan. So I already put them on a high pedestal anyway. That's one of my exclusives. Oh man. Are there any other definitions that I wanted to look up? We looked up neurodivergent, we looked up ADHD. And to keep a focus, I don't think we have to dig too much further. What I could also say though is, in my experience, I touched on what the parent caretakers are going through. I wanted to share, there was one particular instance where a student that was considered autistic, I asked the student, I demonstrated and wanted the student to, of course, participate and reciprocate. And she just wanted to do what she wanted to do on the piano. I wanted to show her the other side of the piano, uh, on the drum kit sounds on the piano. But I wanted her to play a pocket. She wanted to stay up on the right side of the piano, playing like
We are on track for a scheduled departure time of
which was
8:15 a.m.
fine for
We would
when it
like
was
to
her
take this
time to
opportunity to
create
thank
her
and
own
recognize our
music.
Delta 360
But
Diamond,
this was
Platinum,
a
and
lesson, and
Gold
I wanted to,
Silver
show her
Medallion members. We
something,
appreciate your continued
teach her something,
loyalty to
and
Delta
do a focused
Airlines.
lesson.
Additionally, we would like to inform you that we will be boarding by zones.
I wanted some
Please remain seated and only come to
deliverables.
the
I
boarding area
always
when your
struggle
zone
with
is
that word.
called. You will find your boarding
Deliverables,
zone number listed in the boarding pass and
It
apply
just feels
Delta
like
app
it needs a
or on
double
your
D.
printed boarding pass.
Naturally.
If you're waiting for a seat assignment, please check our overhead monitor gate B18 or also your Delta app. For those customers traveling with car seat and strollers, we will be welcoming you to board between zones 2 and 3. If you're waiting for a seat assignment, you can find a seat number in the Fly Delta app on your boarding pass or on the overhead monitor. Federal regulation allow each customer one carrying bag and small personal item that will fit under the seat in front of you. If you have more than 2 items, please consolidate. At this time, we're offering a complimentary baggage check to your final destination. If you're willing to do so, see your B18. Zone 3 for Delta Flight 5269 to Raleigh, Durham, 320, Zone 3.
Hello there. Oh, y'all are showing love on YouTube. Y'all are present. Y'all are present right now. Thank you for tuning in. The subject today has been neurodivergence. Yesterday was just
Good morning for our guests who have recently joined us at B16
a different type of day, and I went live in the moment from ground zero. Ground zero. And so today is me just taking a day to process and release. Process and release. Do we have anybody out there who has experience with neurodivergence, either firsthand for yourself or shared experience in an environment with someone who has it? I'd like to hear from you. If you'd like to join the chat in any capacity, text or joining the call. I'd love to hear from you. It includes our Alaska Atmos Rewards Visa card holders. I would also like to welcome any guests who did check their badge with us again. You're welcome to board early. Thank you. The time is 7:32 Eastern Standard Time. All right, I think we're gonna move now that all of them got up. Get a little closer so I can hear these announcements. But I like to sit at the end, and I don't really see that opportunity over there. And I sat there and watched that lady. I had to leave to go find my phone, and as soon as I got back, I mean, just a millisecond of a step, just ahead of me, she sat down and took my little corner spot. So I'm gonna sit right back down. Is this where I was sitting? I was sitting at the end. Oops. Just sit my tail back down and rest.
They're on C.
Overhead bin space available for all guests, but space is limited. Place small items under the seat in front of you. Remember, one bag up, one bag down gets all bags in the cabin. Thank you. Welcome aboard guests in Group D. Once again, we're still looking for a few volunteers. This is a full flight, so the overhead bin space will be limited. Please go ahead and have Tracy. She's there to help you to check your bag to your final destination. Thank you.
If I were DJing right now, what song would I be playing? Crazy enough, the song really playing in the top of my head is "I Put a Spell on You," and you know, it's different versions of that song. There's a Nina Simone version, but there. Ooh, this is a good moment. What is that guy's name? It's Skip something, but this is good. I like having this because I can look up these definitions without messing up my life. So, I put a spell on you. This could get tricky, but artistically, you know, maybe I can deliver. Uh, Original. Yes, Screamin' Jay Hawkins. I was about to say skip something. Screamin' Jay Hawkins released the iconic blues track in 1956. Originally intended the song to be refined, romantic blues ballad. However, the recording session turned chaotic when the producer brought in ribs and chicken, getting the entire band heavily intoxicated. The resulting raucous, grunting, and unhinged vocal performance gave birth to the cult classic we know today, which Hawkins frequently performed while rising out of a coffin. Uh, so Instagram could be finicky about playback, but we're gonna come back to that song. Let's look at the lyrics. Lyrics. And why do I bring up this song? No weapon formed against
We'd like to welcome aboard guests in
us
Group
shall
E.
prosper.
And once again, the crew has notified us that overhead bin space is starting to fill up. If you'd like to go ahead and volunteer back, please do so now. We'll be happy to tag it for you and not wait until the very last end to tag it within boarding time.
It says, I put a spell on you because you're mine. Stop the things you do. Mwah, watch out, I ain't lying. Yeah, I can't stand no running around. I can't stand no putting me down. I put a spell on you because you're mine. Oh, yeah. Stop the things you do. Mwah, watch out, I ain't lying. I love you, I love you, I love you, baby. How I don't care if you don't want me. I'm yours right now. And I put a spell on you because you're mine. Outro. Mine, mine, mine. Ooh, ah, ooh, you're mine. There are power in words, and words are very spiritual and can be casually spellbinding. Um, and then there is spiritual wickedness, even mentioned in the Bible. Um, Speaks of dark forces,
At this time,
principalities,
we thank you for your patience.
witchcraft.
Welcome aboard guest in Group F. And if you do have a roller bag and you do not need it in flight with you, we would like to go ahead and tag it to your final destination as a complimentary.
What do they call it? Thing.
The in-flight has notified us
Warlock.
that overhead bin space is running very low. Thank you.
Um, and there might be times in life when it's like you might inquire, like, yeah, I know I'm strong, but what does strength got to do with it? Is this normal? Is what I'm experiencing normal? What is normal? And the curt, direct, blunt. Has someone tried to put a root on me? Have you ever asked that question? Has someone tried to put a root on someone you love or that you know? Are you observing a situation where you're like, that's not right? There's something else going on. Is there a
At this time,
demon
we welcome
possessed
all
of some
guests on
sort?
Flight 1 to Seattle. All guests, all roles are being boarded at this time for Seattle.
This is a good one. Not necessarily a palatable, easy one, but what about misinterpretation or interpretation, observation, perspective of some of these quote unquote disorders and how they present out to the world? Like I said earlier, what is society okay and safe, and what needs to be in a straitjacket for public safety that just is a bit too extreme? And who makes that determination? Um, where do we draw the line on excuses, discipline, safety with such a wide range of the spectrum? And once again, what is a disorder and what is defiance? Ooh, that's deep and heavy for a morning convo, but Lord, to not let that drag into the rest of the sunlight and day. Enjoy. Ooh, ooh.
Attention members of the military. The
Not
USO
just my
Lounge is open from
experience,
6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday and 8
but
a.m.
some
to
of
4
the
p.m. on
stories
Saturday and
that
Sunday.
people have shared
The
with me,
USO Lounge is located
I'm
in
like,
Terminal 1, across from the airport's lost and found offices, and can be accessed by taking the airport shuttle.
there's people really going
Once
through it out there
again,
in
we
the
welcome
world.
all remaining passengers for
On
lesson
both
flight 1,
ends of it. Like I
services to
said, the
Seattle.
experiencer and the caretaker.
Boarding will be boarding. This is the final boarding call for all flights.
I would love to hear from anyone who has remotely anything to contribute to the conversation. My friend Moon Cricket from Riverside, California. I see you tuning in. What's up? Give me some 2 cents. Chime in. How you feeling about today's conversation and topic? And you may also at any point tap in on the verses to fill me in about how it went last night. Random. It says Prince slept only 3 hours a night for the last 10 years of his life. Neuroscientists who study his habits discovered he was accidentally producing the single most powerful. Damn, my phone dropped it. But Prince um, is an example of a creative genius. And so I wonder, where does he fall into this whole spectrum, if at all? Are those qualities just genius qualities, or were they superpowers brought on by the spectrum? Michael Jackson. You know what I love about the conversation between Prince and Michael Jackson? I'm inspired. First off, I'm a Michael Jackson fan. Straight up, just across the board.
Please make your way immediately to gate B16 for final boarding call. Rob Inak, please make your way immediately to gate B16 for final boarding call for your flight with Alaska Airlines.
All right. I'm just already a Michael Jackson fan, just period, on all angles. So that's just that. There is no Michael versus Prince or Prince. It's Michael. And respect to Prince. Respect to Prince is the fact that he played all the instruments that he played. Respect to Prince are the songs that I do like and his legendary status. Respect to Prince that all of my favorites absolutely adore him, even though I don't like all of his songs. Prince, who you got to respect on multiple levels, artistically, musical, instrumentally, uh, human beingly, but then also his courageous business acumen and ministry of how he also was trying to help other people. And the fact that my favorite singer, Mary J. Blige, said that Prince went to bat for her, he just got even further cool points from me. So there are a lot of things that, again, Prince is still phenomenal and great, and I don't take anything from him. It's just musically, for me, him and Michael, I love Michael's music, body of work, collectively better. There are songs like Adore that I absolutely adore. Diamonds and Pearls, Kiss, When Doves Cry, like those sorts of songs. But all of his like rock and soft rock stuff, I just can't get with it. But he spoke to the masses and got a wide range of fan base. Michael soul, and then his own genre. By the time Michael started beatboxing, that's the other thing. People try to put Prince over MJ just because of the instruments and the music, but I feel like don't discount the beatboxing. The beatboxing that Michael did makes him a drummer and a percussionist, and that's a lot of times how you communicate to a drummer what you want to hear back. And if you could do it with your mouth, and the human body is the first instrument that all other instruments were designed after, come on. You could do that with your voice, you're dope. Next thing is, I also found out that Michael did play the piano. He didn't necessarily perform it out that much. I would love to find footage of it, but he had the capacity to play piano. So he's still a musician, and we're going to give him his flowers. Um, in my journey, my first instrument was the tenor saxophone in fifth grade. Then I went to choir by 10th grade, and piano 11th and 12th grade, beginner and intermediate, Miss Harrison, Largo High School. Um, Blessings to her and her family. God bless them. Um, and then this is sort of where things get interesting. The passion and the desire to sing was there, but I was actually tone deaf. And my little time in 10th grade choir, I was in the bass section. So I was just really hitting low notes, and I think he just let me in because I wanted to be there. Shout outs to Mr. Murphy. And I just think I wasn't that bad, and that he saw potential in me, and so he gave me a shot.
Jignac, Rob Jignac, if you're in the boarding area at gate B16, please come to the boarding door immediately. Rob. Good morning, welcome to Delta Flight 5772, service to New York LaGuardia.
I'll keep it moving. But by sophomore year of college, my roommates. Oh, I was a DJ. So definitely always been a DJ like my whole life. My mom was a DJ, so like I was doing that the whole time at the house, though not really taught or anything like that. Not doing anything formal, but I did make actual mixtapes. So y'all remember the boombox back in the day had the record and pause and play button. You could play the radio and make your own little mixtapes. Get your little marker and just have your own little collection together. Now y'all have iTunes and stuff. Is iTunes old? That shows you my
Welcome to
age.
Delta Flight 57782 service to New
Y'all
York,
still have
LaGuardia,
iTunes?
here at gate B18.
Oh
At this
my.
time, we are ready to begin pre-boarding customers. Speed, sex, and time and assistance. Welcome aboard. And we are also offering a complimentary baggage check to your final destination. This aircraft will not be able to accommodate all your rollerboard. This aircraft only holds 25. Once we reach that maximum threshold, we will have to involuntarily check your carry-on bag. If you could help us out to expedite our boarding process. At this time, we would like to welcome also our active U.S. military personnel along with your ID. We thank you for your service. Welcome aboard LaGuardia B-18.
Okay. I was going through my musical journey, and prior to that, Prince and Michael, sharing how their influence on me, even though they weren't at the top of my list of all of my favorites, I'm acknowledging them in this moment. Um, I was mentioning choir, and then I was mentioning sophomore year. Get straight to it. I said I was tone deaf. I really used to try to sing and record myself, and I did not sound good at all.
Thank
And I
you
was
for
really
waiting. At this
trying.
time, through our Skype here in Tulane, we would like to welcome customers sit in Zone 1. Welcome
I'm gonna
aboard New
keep
York
talking this
LaGuardia
time because
B-18.
that's just gonna keep happening. I gotta get to this message. Shit. Whoosh. Ooh. Um. I mean, she distracts me every time I stop. Sophomore year,
Thank you
my
for waiting. At this time, we would like to
roommates
welcome
got
also
me high,
customers sit in
straight
Zone
up.
2.
Weed.
Welcome aboard New York
We had weed
LaGuardia
brownies and
B-18.
we smoked before the weed brownies came in because it wasn't happening fast enough. We were like, did it work? So we smoked, and that was my first high. So that hit, and then oh my gosh, later the weed brownies hit. And when I say hit, it lasted for about 48 hours. I was completely frightened. So like the next day I was still high. But like first time high that never went away. So it was tripping. And my roommates told me that the night that we ate the brownies, I was singing. And that I sounded good. And I was like, what? Y'all don't have no reason to lie to me the way y'all be roasting and joking in
Thank
here.
you for waiting. At this time, we would like to welcome customers sit in Zone
Our
3.
house
Delta Flight
was
5772 LaGuardia
lethal.
B-18. Welcome
And that's just a
aboard.
DMV thing. We are a roast town. Roast. Largo High School, PG County, baby. DC, period. I used to teach in DC public schools. I didn't attend DC public schools as a student. But I was ready by the time I became a high school teacher in DC because I remember I went Snaps hat. The students had this girl came for me, and I just had time that day. But I met her right on her level. I met her right on her level, and all the students were showing me the Snapchat. Teachers were talking about it. I was just like, "I'm from here. What you thought this was?" Um, oh man, good times. But I said all of that to say, and if I were to tie it into our conversation about either neurodivergence or just neuro or the brain, psychology, and connection, the fact that I was considered myself tone deaf, and the fact that they said that I could sing that night, I remember visually what happened when I was singing. I remember seeing the speaker. I already know how to read sheet music from elementary school and the tenor saxophone. But the musical staff that's normally 5 lines and is straight, it was waving. And like coming out of the speaker, and sort of like the Looney Tunes sing along, the way the notes would just live dot on the staff, the music staff. It sort of looked like that in a way that I could interpret it and read it. And I was able
Thank
to
you for
see,
waiting at this line
whoa,
toward Jenna boarding bay. The
this
lane closest
music
through the
thing
podium.
looks very
We would like to
visual,
welcome also
and I
customers
already
sitting
know
in
sign
zone
language,
5.
so
Welcome
it all
aboard
was tying
LaGuardia.
in into like neurological. When I was saying earlier, it was neurological is the word that I'm saying. That in that moment, music and singing and the connection between tone deaf and then actual sounding remotely anything good that people don't have any reason to tell me anything positive for in a row session. We're like, nah, bro, I got to give it to you. You sounded good. I was like, did I make a connection? Did I cure tone deafness? Fast forward again later, I've become a music teacher for special needs students. And I mentioned the story Jonah from the Bible regularly now just because Jonah's my homie. I like that character in the Bible because he's real. He was stubborn and bougie, yet he still made his way through force
Thank you for
to
waiting at this line. We
fulfilling
would
his
like to
purpose
welcome
that
also
God had
customers
intended
sitting
for
in
him.
zone 6. Delta Flight 5772 LaGuardia.
Quick refresher on the details of the story, just for anybody who, could use a refresher. Jonah, I need to come up with a very short 50-word like spill on this, considering how many times I recite it. But Jonah was a prophet. Jonah was headed to Tarshish to do his thing. God was like, yo, I need you to go over here to Nineveh right quick. Assignment. Jonah was like, I'm headed to this Mary J. Blige Las Vegas residency this time, God. Last time you sent me somewhere, now is not a good time. So Jonah goes to the Mary J. Blige Las Vegas residency. By the way, feel free to send me tickets. I'm Rhett. R-E-T,
At this
Jamie
time, for those
Foxx.
customers with roll aboard, we will have to involuntarily check your carry back to your final destination. We would like to welcome customers in zone 7, followed by zone 8. Welcome aboard New York LaGuardia.
One moment, please. Anyway, Jonah decides to go where he wants to go. God sends a storm. He went by boat, just for the record. The people on the boat knew that the storm was connected or related to Jonah, so they threw him overboard. When he was thrown overboard into the ocean, a whale or giant fish swallowed him up. He was in there for about 3 days in the belly, and by the time it spit him out, he had been redirected. His path had been redirected to God's intended destination for him to fulfill his purpose and his will for that assignment, and that was in Nineveh. Now, Nineveh, y'all, was the hood. So ultimately, Jonah was like, Nineveh, you sending me to the ghetto? I love the undertone, don't you? He was like, Nineveh. Um, and I mean, by the time he was there, he did his thing, essentially. Um, for me, I was already a music and arts teacher in DC between like 2015 and 2018. And I had great success with the students, with the artwork that we created, visual arts, and then I had an art club, I had a drum line, I had a choir, and then just in my personal life, I was a barber. So I was like just creatively on top of the world during that season. And the war, though, the spiritual warfare, the gang stalking that came with administration and then being effective, an attack on my livelihood, my reputation, my integrity. Just it was horrible, and I learned the system, the matrix, the government in DC public schools. Just for the record, these unions are in direct cohesiveness alliance with the school systems that their illusion to protect you from. So the unions are literally the first line of defense for the people, informants that you are complaining about. So in a legal case, you think you're going like in a horror film. These horrible things are happening here. The second you go and you start talking to the union, you basically talking to the higher ups of the people that you're complaining about, which makes you a target, and they are using that in court for their defense, and they also are going to eliminate you from your job. And by the time it's time to sue, there are no free legal clinics that are going to, at least in DC, going to support you because they are government funded. So you're on your own. And then on top of that, just the money as a teacher, fulfilling your purpose. Yeah, fulfilling your purpose is cool, but what about there's 24 hours in a day? And so if you're already not only working full time, 40 hours, but overtime if you have after school and clubs, you could be talking about 60 plus hours a week. And the real math for my check starting salary between 50 and 55,000. Check was supposed to be 1,900 pre-tax and all of that. After deductions, fees, union fees, health benefits, all of that, my check was $1,100 every 2 weeks, which makes it $550 a week. And I was like, for all of this and the abuse that comes with it, underappreciatedness, I could go work in a restaurant for that and pursue my actual arts. And so I did that. Moved to LA, 2018. And that right there, for me and the Jonah story connection, I feel like could be my Tarshish Nineveh, because I left teaching altogether. I was like, I'll never go back into another classroom. A place where, with students, I was effective, but just not with administration. Ooh, I did my Hollywood thing, the audition life. Um, and then a lot of things happened. If I said that was 2018, 2020 happened, which was the pandemic. You dropped something, man.
Thank you.
You're welcome. 2020 happened, so the shutdown, non-essential businesses. Then they did the vaccine mandatory thing. You couldn't work without a vaccine card. Then you had to get the boosters. Then after all of that stop and go, there were the strikes, the production strikes, which stopped work. It was a lot of stop and go. Then eventually I got into the groove and started booking commercials, runway work. So that's Nineveh, not Nineveh, but Tarshish for me in Jonah, where I wanted to be, where I wanted to go. Or was I fulfilling God's purpose and plan for my life? So during droughts, I had to go back and find work. And of course, even though I said I would never go back to the school again, um, I did. The fasting and prayer. Can we talk real quick about fasting and prayer? The Bible tells us to fast, right? And it does tell us to pray. If you've ever done fasting and praying, especially the first time I did it, I was like, hold on, wait. You said fast and pray. I did it. Why did these bad things happen? I was like, y'all didn't say that it was going to come with spiritual attacks. But I would say, for anybody who is not experienced with fasting and praying, if nobody told you, they could have at least gave you a heads up. And my experience may not be everyone's experience, but my God, I would say at least including the conversation that it is a possibility that a part of your detox process, the enemy will be upset and will try to just wreak havoc because you're lifting yokes and strongholds and binds that may not have even known were there and that you would have never thought to remove because you didn't know that they were there. But the process of detoxing and fasting moves it, so they're attacking is their defense. So I just want to forewarn you on that. I'm not telling anybody to not do it. I'm just saying, don't forget the praying part.
Attention members of the military. The USO Lounge is open
yourself.
from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday and 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. on Saturday and Sunday. The USO Lounge is located in Terminal 1, across from the airport's lost and found offices, and can be accessed by taking the airport shuttle.
During this time of me in Hollywood, which would be my Tarshish for Jonah, there are some distinct things that happen. One, I'll never forget, on my birthday, I was headed to the gym, and this dude just started cussing me out on the street. And it was my birthday. I'm a Taurus. I had Taurus just energy completely flowing full throttle, and it just wasn't the day. And I was headed to the gym. Oh my, he just started cussing me out. I don't know if he was homeless or just strung out on drugs, but I, we fought that day. We fought that day. I beat that down. It was not the day. And I gave him fair warning. I was like, bro, you better leave me alone. Go ahead that way. And he just cussing me out. Ooh, baby. Next thing, I end up going back to work in a restaurant. And if I just fast forward, one of the most worst experiences I ever had. Morning on your flight 15 on Alaska Airlines with service to San Diego. This is a pretty full flight, so there's a good chance we are going to run out of overhead bin storage before everyone gets to board. We are currently asking for 20 volunteers to check their roller bags. Volunteer bags will be checked for free to baggage claim at your final destination with a 20-minute arrival guarantee. And you may also board early with Group C. So please come see me at the podium if you'd like us to do the heavy lifting. Also, it'll be a bonus if you're in Groups B, E, or F, you'll be able to board early with Group C if you check your bag with me now. Thanks again for choosing Alaska Airlines. I was saying that during this time in my Tarshish, which is Hollywood audition night, there was another drought or strike where I had to go back to work outside of auditioning and commercial work. And I was working at, I don't even care, the W Hotel in Hollywood. The harassment, first off, that I got, just being a black guy in fine dining, all right, in Hollywood, a place where all the jobs leading up to that were like, let me know at the interview, buster, runner, back of the house, food expo only. At the interview, like no promotions, don't expect it. Directly at the interview, tell you that. Understand your place, straight up. So I actually became a server, and the staff was not used to that. They couldn't see that. They couldn't share space with that. So they like found ways to just harass and attack me every day. But I was making that money, and that's why they were mad and they couldn't stop it. There was a manager one day who made like a sexual advance on me, white lady, and I mean I didn't feed into it or anything. I just heard the comment, but she was like, "Oh, double entendre," and I don't. It was something dealing with hot chocolate or black chocolate or something. But we're dealing in a restaurant, so it was like a double entendre, like hot chocolate or something. I can't remember all the details, but at some point she felt comfortable enough around me to say that she was a witch bitch. Those are her words. That is quote. She said that she was a witch bitch, and I had gotten to the point to where I told management I didn't feel safe. I don't want them putting my name on my staff meal coming from the kitchen anymore, considering all the just harassment that I have been getting. I don't want my food identifiable. Um, if I just fast forward past all the details, eventually the same lady got me fired. And a week after that, someone who is a former track athlete, yogi, completely into fitness and health, and a model at the time, was paralyzed from my knees down for a day. Could not explain it for anything to the world. And I'm a praying man. And I was like, God, help me explain this. You said no weapon formed against me shall prosper. So I don't even entertain this stuff. I don't entertain the idea of any of this. But can you explain this? That happened in real life. So I was like, is this a result of me being like Jonah, defiant and rejecting God's plan and intention for my life? I don't have to tell every story, but that's an example of what I mean by spiritual warfare. Um, as of recent, this past March, a very similar thing happened, except I was teaching again, and this is at a music conservatory for special needs students, primarily neurodivergent, and I didn't even know that going into the job. So YouTube is on, but IG says pause due to poor connection. So let me check my connection on IG right quick. Mm, sometimes you gotta go back and click that little button to reconnect. Shout out to all the travelers in the world today. Peace and blessings and safety to us all. Salute, Salute. We're back. We're back. We're back on IG and YouTube. All right. Um, I was sharing my story saying that I was teaching again in a music conservatory. Things were going good, but this time I'm like, okay, I'm in Nineveh. I'm back teaching. I'm not even auditioning. And one day I couldn't walk again. I was laid out on the street, on the sidewalk. I could not walk again. Completely terrified to call 911 in the ambulance out of fear, not knowing how much that was going to cost. But I eventually did it. It was in the emergency room for I eventually did it. It was in the emergency room for 3 days. And then that's what I mean by spiritual attacks. Inquiring what in the world. So if that was March and now we're in June, it's been about 3 months. But I'm not. Oh, this is a detail. The job said that I had not worked there long enough, which was August to March at the time. I had not worked there long enough for
Hi
any sort
there,
of
would
sick
like
or
to
medical
welcome you to
leave.
your flight with Alaska Airlines, a proud member of One World Alliance. This is Flight 15, going to San Diego. Just a few reminders before boarding: you are prohibited from smoking, vaping, using chewing tobacco, and consuming your own alcohol at any time.
One moment, please.
Each guest can board with one small personal item and one carry-on that fits easily in the baggage sizer. We can help you
Wait,
to
so
check any
IG
extra
lets
items.
you
Please note that guests may carry
share
a
a
maximum
photo
of two
or video
portable
with your
power banks
viewers.
at 100 watt hours or less. Power banks, e-cigarettes, and smart bag batteries are not permitted in overhead bins, and they must always remain within arm's reach. For board by
How
groups,
cool.
please take note of your boarding group, which is printed on your boarding pass. If you need assistance with boarding or you don't see a group on your boarding pass, please come and see us. Boarding will begin shortly. Thank you for flying with us today.
Okay. So I was able to green screen on YouTube Live, and then I just for the first time did the whole, what do they call it? You could add a picture or something, media on your IG Live. Fast forward, I just said what happened in March, and then they said that I didn't have any medical or sick leave because I hadn't worked there long enough, which was August to March. It was the second time working in the school system where you give your all and you try to use the benefits that they done deducted from your check and play you when you actually try to use them. I remember the first time it was a piano teacher and had cut my finger um, and needed it to heal because it had gone black. And I was trying to make sure I didn't get like gangrene or infected or anything like that. And so they said we can X-ray, but with your health insurance, it doesn't cover MRI. And I'm like, are you serious? I work about 60, 80 hours a week. What you mean I can't get an MRI? And then this time around, they're telling me, yeah, you basically short. Any days that you have off not only will not be compensated, But when is your return to work date? Because we can't just have you on the roster and not working. You'll need to like resign and reapply, and we can bring you back on. So I'm always reminded in working in Nineveh, God, that's why he didn't want to go to Nineveh. You send him out to these places, and we have these piss poor experiences in these low quality spiritual places, and we out there on the front line getting abused. Um, so that's that. And because of the severity of the medical concern, I prioritize my health, and I have not been back to work since March, and I've been homeless since. So I came to DC to rest and recover because this is a medical emergency going on. And when March, just for the record, I was in a wheelchair. A wheelchair. But I started seeing this pattern, which made me question, is this nothing, or is this spiritual warfare? When I'm operating at my highest vibration and frequency, the attacks, the pattern, the cycle, though, at this point, the recognition of it, it's exhausting. So I'm not mad at Jonah. I'm not mad at him. I like him. And the cool part is he still went and did his job. And that's how I feel a little bit with God. I'm like, God, like, I'm not even as defiant as Jonah. Like, if you got something for me to do, let me know my assignment. I'll do it. Do you have a problem with what I do in my spare time? Like my leisure time? Like, of course there are things I would prefer to do. But I'll stop it to do what you need me to do. But you got a problem with anything in particular that I'm doing? Is what exactly is displeasing to you? So I wish that there was a lot more that I could share with you. That's sort of where I am in the story to present. Throughout this, my therapy, it's Men's Health Awareness Month, June. It's a lot of things. It's also like Black Music Month. It's the 50th anniversary of Go-Go in DC. So it's a lot of different celebrations and acknowledgments going on in the community. But for Men's Health Awareness Month, I'd like to speak about the pressures of being a provider and a protector during these times of inflation. How it's 4 times the pressure of any other generational era financially. Let's say gas was $6.
Good morning, passengers from Alaska Flight 15 to San Diego. Your aircraft is making its way to the gate. Once your aircraft is at the gate and the flight crew is on a bit, giving us the go ahead to start boarding, we will begin boarding as quickly and as safely as possible.
I'm about to get off here in a
Once
second.
again, if you would like to go ahead and volunteer your bag, we will be happy to tag it to your final destination free of charge. This is a complimentary service. If you do not need your bag, please come and see us. If we have any families and you have a car seat or a stroller that you would like to have tagged, please come and see us as well so we can have those gate checked for you for passengers on San Diego. Thank you.
But thank you for tuning in. That's my time. I just, my one thing that gets me about God that just like has me a little confused. Let's just say I stepped away from auditioning, right? Let's just say that is what, excuse me, was displeasing to God. Or let's just say, with everything that's happened in the media with Hollywood and just all of these P. Diddy stories, Epstein stories, Oprah and them. Of course, you know that the industry is dark and demonic and full of all of those things. If I said witchcraft, the list goes on. Um, if I stop that and go to teaching, is that not leaving Tarshish and going to Nineveh? And if I go to Nineveh, which is teaching, how am I still experiencing what I'm experiencing? I'm like, isn't this what you want, God? Because I surrendered. I had been away from home for 8 years, home as in DC. So if I've been away for 8 years and I surrender and detach from everything, how is it? You're good, thank you. How is it at all that God would have me go back to anywhere other than Nineveh, but specifically to go to Tarshish? Does that make any sense? I be asking God for clarity sometimes. I actually want to do right, but you are confusing me. So I'm going to end on that note. Because it really is a TBD, to be determined. Dot, dot, dot. And now I'm sleepy. I'm going to sleep great. Good day, world. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you're not already, like, share, subscribe. Make sure you're following the URLive Podcast on YouTube, URLive Radio on Instagram. Do y'all like the name URLive Radio or URLive Podcast better? I like URLive Radio better because it's less words, shorter. And radio is really what I'm about. That's the original. Like this podcast world is, something. Have a great day. We'll talk.